So probably one of the most difficult questions on the homework that you might see on the test tomorrow is question number 3 on page 273, because it requires several methods of factoring. One method of factoring is, on the numerator especially, is to pull out the GCF. And what would the GCF be? X. Actually, x squared, right? So let me get a little closer so we can see that. What I want to do is pull out an x squared from the top. And if I pull out an x squared, what's going to be left in there? 1 minus x. Okay? Now, that's the top part factored. Okay? So now we're going to kind of put that on pause. Just forget about it for a little while and focus in on this guy. All right? Now, how do we factor this guy? We know we want a quadratic trinomial. I mean, it is a quadratic trinomial, and we want this binomial times binomial. So you're going to have to guess and check, or maybe use Jaime Escalante method. So I'm going to go with the Jaime Escalante method, okay? So let me just focus in on that 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. And step 1 on Jaime Escalante is what? To multiply what? A times C. So that's 2 times 3. That gives us 6, right? That is the answer for step 1 on Jaime Escalante method. Step 2 is to think of the multiples of 6 that combine together to give you the middle value, which in this case is negative 5. So let's say you're not too sure, just write 1 times 6, 2 times 3, you make a list, and remember that this has to equal a positive 6. So 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Which pair of numbers will combine together to give you a negative 5x? The 2 and 3 will give you positive 5. So you know you have the right numbers, 2 and 3, but you have the wrong signs. So you're going to put a negative 2 and a negative 3. Does that make sense? Yeah. That way you get the negative 5 that's in the middle. So the correct pair of numbers that we want for step 2 is negative 2 and negative 3. The third step, el tercer paso, is to make 2 fractions with that pair of numbers as the denominator, the negative 2 and the negative 3 in the denominators, with the a value, which happens to be what? 2 in the numerator. And step 4 is simply to reduce and plug. So step 4 is to reduce. That becomes 1 over negative 1. And 2 over negative 3 stays 2 over negative 3. And all we need to do is plug them into our answer format. So remember, the top number goes, this top number goes with x, this number goes by itself. So I'm going to take this fraction and write it up here. So I'm going to have a positive 1x minus 1. 1x minus 1. And I'm going to take this 2 over negative 3, and that's really going to be a 2x minus 3 right here in this one. So that's going to be a 2x minus 3. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, so we have factored the top one, which we got this guy, and we factored the bottom one, which we got this guy. So maybe it'd be a good idea to rewrite both of them on the side. So I'm going to rewrite it. The top one is x squared times 1 minus x, and the bottom one is x minus 1 times 2x minus 3. Okay, so when you're looking at this, you already factored, you need to cancel. But the problem is, could we cancel this guy with this guy? No, because they're not the same exact thing. Like, you got to really look at it. This guy right here is a positive x. What's this? Negative x. This guy right here is a negative 1. What's this? Positive 1. So we know that it's the same exact values, just different signs. So what we need to do is, first of all, what would be good to do is to switch the 1 and the negative x. So it'll kind of look like this. Put this negative x first and the 1 second, right? So let me rewrite it. Here I go, x squared with a negative x and a plus 1. And it's over x minus 1 and 2x minus 3. Is everybody with me? Yeah. Now, again, we said that this is the same as this. The only thing is that they're opposite values. So what I'm going to do is factor out a negative 1. I'm going to take this one and factor out a negative 1. So I'm going to have a negative 1 on the outside right in front of the x squared. And then that negative x becomes a positive x, and the plus 1 becomes a minus 1. So on the bottom, I still have, let me rearrange this a little. So on the bottom, I still have x minus 1 and 2x minus 3. So now, after factoring out a negative 1, now we really do have the x minus 1 up here and the x minus 1 down here, and now we could cancel. Does that make sense? So, of course, we still need to write our final answer. Let me just bring this question back so we could see it. And let me make this a little smaller. So our final answer is going to be negative, you don't need the negative 1, you could just call it negative x squared over 2x minus 3. That's your final answer for number 3 on page 273. Okay? So I hope that kind of helped.